here we are. This is Sex Love Psychedelics, and I'm your host, Dr. Kat, bringing you psychosexual conversations that will leave you intellectually turned on and hungry for more.
As an individual expression, but anymore we're having these conversations on how trauma is very systemic, or how it even occurs intergenerationally.
Mm-hmm.
So to start there, when we're talking about trauma, like what do we mean when we use that word?
I think the human experience is traumatizing in many ways, just to leave the oneness and to operate as separate entities in a world that's full of pleasure and pain is challenging. And when we're looking at trauma from a clinical lens, it's something that happens, and then it's what happens inside of the person as a result of the happening. So trauma isn't like the rape or the being robbed or the being, abused as a child. It's like, what does that then create inside of a person's body, in their nervous system, that they walk with? And how does that hijack their ability to be present, right? Because we're reading past on now and reading past on future and really struggling to be in this here now moment. So trauma is many things, but I think from a clinical perspective, it's just really important to just start with, it isn't the thing that happened, it's what happens inside of a person after the happening.
And I think that's really important to highlight, because so many of us have had, we can look at our events and say, yeah, this person had the same thing happen to them. So why does it show up differently in each individual? And I think part of that too is what were the resources or the responses that were available to us in that present moment time. Yeah, like you said, we're walking on this earth and shit happens, right? But then if we turn to our parent and they comfort us and soothe us, then it doesn't have to get stuck in a way.
Mm-hmm. And so often traumatic experience is exacerbated by lack of a loving response, right? So if somebody has an experience that's challenging or painful or harmful, and then they share about it, and then their sharing isn't met, or they're asked to be silent, or they're told that they're lying, right? Like that then creates more dysregulation in the body and in the psyche.
Yeah.
I have so often worked with people whose reveal of their traumatic experience has in some ways been more traumatizing than the thing itself.
Ooh, tell us more.
I mean, if you think in an effort to kind of protect stories, but I've seen this a few times where, say there's sexual abuse, and then someone comes out forward and tells maybe a parent or a relative, and then they're told to not share that again.
Yeah.
They're told that wasn't true. They're told, like, you're making that up, or not, they don't do anything about it. And the inaction, right, creates harm. So I've seen that quite a bit. And the good news about trauma is that because it lives in the body, it can be shifted and lifted. And with psychedelic assisted therapies, some of the same language is literally used. When someone has a traumatic experience, sometimes they say, I was not the same person again after that happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's often like the exact same language that can present when somebody has a positive healing psychedelic experience in a supported way. So I'm not the same person anymore, right? So we can change in either direction quickly.
Yeah.
Well, that was fun. Thanks for tuning in, lovers. And if you want to experience more ecstasy and sexual liberation, head over to sexlovepsychedelics.com and learn about how you can join me for any one of my online or live events. And while you're there, grab my free guide on sex and psychedelics. Remember, this podcast is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Please contact your healthcare provider and local law before pursuing any of the products or psychedelics discussed. And one final note here. I make this show specifically for you. If you're loving the show, then be sure to leave me a review in iTunes or Spotify to let me know. Happy to be here and happy to serve. I'll see you next time on Sex Love Psychedelics.